My name is Pius Sige. I'm the founder and the CEO of Amtech Technologies Limited, and we provide tailor-made solution to both private and government. The agro producers are basically the farmers, which they produce products and sell to the market. So some of the very important key factors, one is they look at the risk, the agricultural credit risk, because in Kenya, we are relying on rain-fed instead of like irrigation. So everybody is saying, if I put in money here, the risk is very high. That's number one. Number two, they look at the lending rates. So the higher the lending rate, the farmers will shun that particular product completely. And then number three is the size of the loan that you are looking at. So it's very important to know the size of the loan that you want from the financial institution. And then finally, the type of financial institutions. You can go to a certain bank and the bank will tell you, our rate is this one and we can negotiate. And then some will tell you, please come to the table, and then we talk about it, and then we shall be able to come to, we make addition on that, and then we agree. Dealing with agro producers and then the partnering with the banks is a bit complex, but the critical bit is the first thing that you need to do is to start early negotiation. You don't need to go like today and say, I need this kind of facility and you need it like next week. So start early negotiation. Number two, know the type of products that the farmers or the agro processors requires. So if you are dealing with specific value chain like dairy, you know which facility you need and it has to be as soon as possible. Then number three is that is the innovation of the particular institution that is available. If you don't have innovative solutions, nobody will want you to that in that partnership. So it's very important to make sure that partnership works because you are bringing in some value proposition instead of just bringing in a product and that's it. And finally, in terms of when you give out the value, you need to make sure that there is a lot of other things just behind, because we are working with the farmers and those specific farmers requires training, they require the inputs, and they require advisory services at all times. To do that, basically, is collaboration between the Amtechs in the field, because the first thing is know how the season will be. The first thing what you need to know basically is when is the planting season is coming in. So what do you need during the planting season? One, you need somebody who is in soil. And then the next thing is you need a tractor. So you need to also to collaborate with people who will be harrowing. Then number three, you need the seeds. So you need somebody to give the money to this farmer so that you can be able to get the seeds. So collaboration is very, very important, and you need to know who is doing what at what point. So the leverage points that are required to move solution forward is to be very, very innovative. Specifically, making sure that whatever you have for the farmer can be able to add value to that particular farmer. Because let's say, for example, Amtech having a credit scoring solution. So what are we supposed to leverage on? Basically, we need to leverage on the information the farmer we have by including even the farm level data. The farm level data means making sure that I know the number of acres the farmer has, the number of produce that you want to produce, and at what point will you get the money so that I get my money back, and also including the interest. So that is what we do. So innovation is very, very, very important. So one of the key things that we did was to innovate what is called FLMD, farm level data, by making sure that we go beyond what other institutions or what other banks are doing. Basically, what other banks are using, they are using just transactional information. As Amtech, what we did was we go beyond the normal transaction. We go and capture the farm level data. That is, we capture the KYC. We capture what is in the farm, all the assets in the farm. We also capture what you get from the cooperative, that is advisory services, even the language that we want to communicate with you. We capture all of them in one place. That one enables us to make sure that we give out more loans than other providers of the loan. So that's a breakthrough. Number two was also making sure that once we have the data in our database, we now innovate more solutions. We have like a 1 month loan, we have a 2 weeks loan, and also we have like 3 months loan and even 1 year loan. Because basing on specific value chains, like if you are dealing with maize, you need to make sure that between 6 months and 8 months, the repayment should be done. If you are dealing with potatoes, you have to make sure that within 3 or the 4th month, you are supposed to be paid. If you are dealing with dairy, it is monthly. You need to make sure that all the payment has been done within the month. So you can be able to know the cycle of each and every product that is in the market. So innovation is very, very important. What is very important is trust issues, because whenever you are coming in with other people together, the first thing is you make sure that there is a very good handshake, collaboration between the two. So if there is no trust issue, that is there is a problem. And then number 2 is a common bond. A common bond means whatever we have together, we shall be able to get something out of the process. So that one also is very, very important, because if you don't do that, you can. Then the other thing is communication in between the actors. If you don't communicate very well between the actors, you won't be able to make a lot of whatever. And make sure that during this process, you make sure that the other partner knows exactly what you are doing. And then there is no like shortcut in between, so that I want to do this. I remember like dealing with some of the banks. So as a company and the banks, there is different distinction between the two. But if you give out your data to a bank, the bank can convert those information to become their accounts. So in the process, the trust there is 0. So you find that you need to be very, very careful. You need to balance between the partners that you are working with. So I think basically challenges normally comes between if you don't do your risk matrix very well. That's very important. And for you to do the risk matrix very well is you make sure that the data is correct. Because what happens with some societies is they can give you wrong information. When they give you wrong information, you'll be able to give out the loan to that particular institution. And then within 2 to 3 months, you realize that what you did was wrong. So what happens? You need to make sure that you rectify. By the time you are rectifying, the risk has already happened. So what happens? So that is now where the challenge is. So in terms of revenues, the critical thing is to make sure that you have quite a number of cycles to make the product sustainable, a specific product sustainable. So if you don't bring quite a number of cycles together, then you will find that you will be able to try to manage that business, and in the long run, it becomes what? It becomes, you get losses, and then you will just close it. So that's a very important thing, especially in terms of revenue. And revenue stream is basically, for us, is based on the number of transactions that happens, the number of farmers that we have, and the number of products that we offer. And it has to be as innovative as possible. We get money from SMS, we get money from transactions, from the loans transactions. We get money from credit scoring with the banks and also with other institutions. So those are how we get some of the monies that are available. But also we share across, because you cannot just be able to be the sole people who just earn that money. There are also other people which we share that specific money, so that everybody at the end of the day is very comfortable. Amtech has its own culture, whereby we deal with we train our staff specifically to be able to handle societies and circles. The way you deal with a society or a circle is different from the way you deal with an individual, because a society has a board member. So if they don't if they don't agree or consent on an item, you can't go anywhere. So we normally make sure that we have a culture whereby when you go to a cooperative, you make sure at least you have like 4 or 5 people accepting your idea. So that is very, very important. So our culture is to make sure that we train our staff to make sure that they bring those people together, so that we agree on 1 or 2 things before we sign agreements. Because when we go to a cooperative, we sign what is called consent, so that allow us to get the data. We sign service level agreement to allow us to have like a contract with them. And then number 3, we also make sure that we agree on 1 or 2 things, specifically the product that we are offering them. And in terms of that is a private-public partnership, I think something which is very important there is we make sure that the partnership between the institutions, Amtech, and even the government has to be very, very, very strong. Because if you don't agree with the banks, you will not get the investment. If you don't agree with the government, they will close your business. So it has to be like a 1-to-1 ratio. whereby you agree with all of them and then you move together. You need to balance specifically to make sure that you are a going concern at all times. Thank you.